Welcome to The View from the Ninian after the international break. Can you join us here for the evolution of facial hair? From a mustache to a full beard, it's Ben, and Tom. Tom, you want to talk people through the no shaving situation that's going on at the moment?
Yeah, I've just been pretty lazy, to be honest with you, and I was quite curious to see how it goes. And it turns out it looks absolutely shocking. So this will be the last time you see this on the podcast.
Shame you can't get a hat for your chin.
Oh, oh yeah, there might be business idea in that. You never know.
You never know. Ben, full beard as always. You can grow a proper beard, can't you?
Yeah, I've been quite lucky with that, really. I've been able to grow a full beard for a long time.
You never see facial hair beyond my chin because it's so patchy. So you just get a mustache from me. So listen, the football's shit, so we've got to talk about other stuff, really. Let's got to keep ourselves entertained somehow. We're back after the international break. Unfortunately, we've got Sheffield Wednesday to talk about. There's a lot of tweets to get through. We'll look ahead to the rest of the season and Omar Reza and QPR next weekend. But let's start with the game yesterday, Ben. Sheffield Wednesday, a 1-1 draw. Before we get into it, give us your disappointed with the draw, happy with the draw, annoyed at everything.
It's a weird one because on paper you sort of think a point against a mid-table side, sort of at least it's a point we didn't lose. You're happy, but you come away with it and just everything was frustration. Like it should have been 3 points and a nice little boost to our goal difference. So yeah, I'm really frustrated with that result.
Tom, you the same?
Yeah, like I think if you take it like the game on its own and you don't put it in any context of the season, you're like, okay, it's one that we performed all right. We started pretty well, played some decent attacking football first half. It kind of petered out second half, and you kind of it's 2 points dropped, but you wouldn't be too kind of heartbroken about it. But it's just the cut and paste of it all. Just how many times we played that mid-table team where we feel that we're better than them, we've created more than them, and we've come away with less than 3 points. And it's the reason we're in the position we're in. And it's just a frustrating one. Like, I know we'll get on to it, but it was night and day between first and second half. And I think that's the problem. That's the thing we've seen over and over again this season.
Ben, let's talk about the team selection. For once, we could say it was quite bold by Omar Reza. He started Alves, Ashford across the middle. Who was the other winger he started? The name escapes me. Davis, who did score. For a moment there, I forgot he existed. I don't know what happened in my head. I just completely blanked him. Davis, Alves, and Ashford across the middle. That's the boldest thing we've seen from Reza in a while, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, and I think like when you look at Salah at the top as well, I thought it was just a lovely setup. But you could see exactly what he was going for. Salah's hold-up play is superb. You've got players coming in around and to run off and sort of make the runs in the box. It made perfect sense. And in the first half, it worked a treat. I thought all of them were exceptional. The only disappointment I had was we couldn't bring back the fluid. Because I thought it was going to be sort of each of them taking turns to play in the 10, but it just Ashford tended to stay there the whole time. And that was the only disappointment from that lineup for me.
Tom, with all that pace, it's something we've wanted to see all season, isn't it? Just like us getting out there and attacking teams.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've had injuries at different times. We haven't had Salah up top, for all the season. He's only just come in January. But since he's come in and since Davis has come back, it felt like the obvious thing to do. The things we haven't been doing in games is getting at teams, especially at home at times. And I think, there's pace to burn there and a finisher in the box. So the natural thing to do is to use that. And I was excited when the team came out. I think I texted you boys saying, "Oh, that looks pacey," because that's all we kind of look for as Cardiff fans is those pacey wingers. And like Ben said, first half it worked an absolute treat.
Ben, we dominated the game for most of the first half, didn't we? It was probably some of the best football we played all season.
Yeah, just in control. Sheffield Wednesday just couldn't deal with that pace, could they? It was all that. We kept our shape really well, and the midfield ticked over nicely as well. Just did exactly what I need to do: get the balls out wide, spray them out wide, and the boys work the ball into the box. It's exactly what we've been crying out for. But I think going with that, it was the tail of the season of we scored that one goal, but we just didn't do anything else, do we? We could for the love nor money we couldn't get that second goal, and that's what bit us in the arse as much as anything else. If we go to halftime 2-0 up, it's game over. Even with the subs, I don't think Wednesday are getting back into this, but we're just so soft. We lack such a cutting edge at times, and that is going to be our downfall, I think.
I just wondered. Apart from the Swansea game this season, when have we ever scored more than 2 goals in a game? Obviously, we beat Plymouth earlier this season. Yeah, that's the only other one I could think of. Just looking through the fixtures now, and to your point, Ben, 1 goal for us is never enough, is it? And
No.
2 goals seems to be our maximum, apart from the 2 games we just talked about. And Tom, obviously, we went 1-0 up in this game. We'll talk about the goal, but we never felt comfortable, did we? Even though we were dominating the game, we never feel comfortable as a fans that we're going to win the game, even though we're 1-0 up.
It's because we've seen this film before, isn't it? I think we know what's coming. And this is the one that I do feel sorry for Reza on. There's plenty he's doing wrong, don't get me wrong. But like the fact that the players aren't helping him out in that situation, we should be 2-0 up, 3-0 up in those situations, and we're not. And I think that takes the pressure off the managerial team a little bit when you're going in 2-0 up at half time. And we haven't had that luxury. So you're constantly then trying to tinker with things second half when teams can sniff that they can get back into it. And I think we'll look back at a lot of games at the end of this season and think, look, if only we scored another chance here, if only that didn't go wide, if only we put a bit more power on that header, if only we were a little bit braver. And this is one of those games again. And it's such a pity because, like Isaac Davis's goal, that is a fucking great finish.
Yeah, it's a great goal.
There's a lot of players in that box. It's not, he had a bit of time, but he's put it bottom corner. The keeper's planted, and we've got people who can finish in our team. And I'm not saying if we had Isaac Davis back earlier in the season, we'd be in a different position, but who knows? Because he's got an instinctive finish about him and something that some of our other players in our squad just don't have.
Then let's talk about the goal. Obviously, Tom's mentioned it there, the finish, but it was just great build-up, wasn't it? The ball went from front to back to front. Sorry, we defended really well. Will Alves took the ball on, and I think Will Alves is such a lovely footballer, and he basically opened up the space, cut into the middle, and Davis had a bit of work to do, but he did it. It was the kind of goal we haven't scored many of this season, wasn't it? Because the build-up play from the back to front was really good. We were really incisive, and it was a great finish by Davis.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at the way we've played under Reza, that would be, if he had everything his way, that would be the kind of goal we score a lot more of. I feel like the players getting involved, passing it around nicely, striker holding it up, bringing other lads into it, and then just a lovely finish. I mean, Davis sends about 3 lads for a hot dog and then slots it through Bannon's legs into like the bottom near corner when the keeper's fully expecting to go across his goal. It's a cracking finish. It really is such a good finish. But you're right, the build-up and everything around it before that it's a shame you said, it's just a shame we haven't done more of it all this season. I think every forward player involved in that goal in some way, shape, or form is huge, and we haven't seen enough of that. It's weird, considering we haven't scored many goals from set pieces, you haven't got really many sort of open play goals. You're looking back and going, that's an absolutely brilliant goal, like a brilliant team goal. So we haven't got many goals in general, to be honest. Part of
I just, like, apart from the game against, the goals we scored against Swansea, there's not many goals this season that like stand out in your head as really good goals. That goal is probably one of them, right? Because the build-up play was so good.
Yeah, I was thinking earlier about goals that we scored this season like that, but then everything came to last season. I'd be like, O'Dowda's goal. No, that was against Ipswich last season. Oh, Ashford's goal. No, Ashford's goal was this season, wasn't it? Just before Christmas.
Not the Southampton one.
The Southampton one he scored last season, but he scored.
That might be the one I'm thinking of as well. Actually, yeah, Christ.
He scored one against Oxford on Boxing Day.
Yeah, I think we're just trying to wipe the season already. I think we've just got a little bit ahead of ourselves. That's why we can't think of anything. And I think it's going to keep having the same conversations every week. I apologise to the listeners who have to keep listening to it. But I think it does just blend. Like a lot of the season does just blend because there hasn't been many standout moments apart from, like you say, the Swansea game and the Plymouth game.
We're going to talk about it now. We're going to have the same conversation, aren't we? Where we're going to say we went 1-0 up, and Ben's already touched upon it, Tom, but we went 1-0 up. We couldn't capitalise. We couldn't ram home the advantage. Obviously, Salek had a header from a corner, which he should have done better with. We had other chances that we should have scored and done better with. Second half, we shit the bed, and then we ended up drawing the game. I mean, we could just repeat this on loop every week, couldn't we, Tom?
But please stay listening, is what I would say. Perhaps we'll come up with something else. Who knows?
Who knows? There's so many games left in the season. We're running out of time as well.
There might be some questions about food in a bit. Who knows?
There
is one in the tweets. So that's something to look forward to. Sorry, Tom. Let's get back to the football. Same old story.
Yeah, I think we've seen it before where managers have just got the better of the second half. They've been brave at half time. They've made some substitutions, and we haven't been able to adapt. And I think the frustrating thing as well is the nature of the goal again. It's not like we've been cut open, which we have been plenty of times this season. It's just a set piece again. We've conceded a lot from set pieces. We're just simply not strong enough. And it's just such a weak way to let them back in the game when they're creating nothing all game. They had a few corners, don't get me wrong, they put us under pressure that way. They didn't create much else. And it's just a really, really frustrating one to let them back in. And you know from that point that we're going to struggle to win that game. Because we just, like, you look at the Luton game, for example, you feel like when they come back into that game, there's only ever going to be one winner. This one, I don't know, that result isn't good for either of us. But we weren't going to go on and win that game.
This is an aside, Ben. I haven't written this down, but let's roll with the punches. Let's try and do something a bit different. We talk about not being very good from set pieces this season and defending and scoring from set pieces. Is that because Omar Riza doesn't have a clue who his best centre half pairing is? When you think about how we've ended up towards the back end of the season with Fish and Bagan at centre half, we've seemed to have forgotten about Jesper Darland. I know he was injured, but he seems to be back on the bench. Gutas seems to have been bombed out and not coming back in. NG's played at centre half. Now he seems to be favoured at right back. There's no consistency, is there? Which means players aren't seemingly able to build any kind of partnership.
Yeah, I think that plays a huge part of it. I think this is the first time we've played the same back for 2 games in a row for months.
I was trying to have a look, but I couldn't.
I feel like
you do some talking. I'll have a look.
Yeah, but it is an issue, and you're definitely right. But again, I'm not defending him because some of his decisions have been bonkers. But you look at every sort of centre back pairing or centre back option we've got. There's flaws with all of the combinations. I feel like with Fish and Bagan, they're young, they're inexperienced, and in Bagan's case, there's Will Puskod as well. Sorry,
Will Puskod. Thank you.
I got that wrong. But with those two, you're lacking serious height with Bagan, and physicality, which is an issue. Darland and Gutas as a combination just doesn't work for whatever reason. Both of them need to play on the right; they can't do it. Gutas and Fish again just doesn't seem to work. It's just you can understand why he's not stuck with it because there hasn't been a combination you've sat there and gone, right, that's definitely the combination we need to play for the rest of the season. Probably for the whole back four, you've not looked at it and like realistically, can you pick a perfect back four out of what we got?
Tell you what, has anyone ever thought about playing 5 centre backs?
Yeah, why not? We've got enough of them.
Yeah,
Bagan and NG are left and right because they can do both. Then Gutas, Fish, and who else can play at centre half?
Darland,
yeah. See, even I've forgotten about him.
Bring back Big Mick. I couldn't even get my words out then. And we'd be
bing,
fine.
Bing.
Bing. Yeah, I got Bing Bong with Super Rianos in my head now. But the thing is, like, we actually defended all right in that game. Like, that wasn't our issue. I think, set pieces, yes, that might have caused it. But defensively, we've done all right in games recently. It's just the petering out of the second half more than anything. I don't think we've looked that dodgy. We just don't look like we're going to go on and win games.
We don't look competent.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to discuss the goal, I think the whole thing.
Let's talk about the goal. We kind of lost our way there. Let's talk about the goal.
I think looking at it right, you've again classic podcast stuff. Bit defending and a pair NG fuck up. I feel like
was it a fuck up or was he fouled?
I don't think he's fouled. I can see why the referee hasn't given it because he's not sort of. It's hands in the back, and you can see it could be given, but the way he's thrown himself down is ridiculous.
Very dramatic, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and he's tried playing for it. Again, it's Perry NG trying to shit house, and it's cost us a goal. Although, to be fair to him, you can't then, ironically, with Puskod decides not to jump like a salmon out of water, just decides to let the boat climb all over him and score an easy goal.
Yeah, I think I mean Sheffield Wednesday have done something quite different from the corner, haven't they? Because they've all started at the back post and then run across. But it's just weak defending overall, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, well, there's just no challenge on him. Again, there's been a few goals this season where the defenders from set pieces just haven't put that challenge in. All Puskod has to do is jump up with the ball. Just jump. Just make an effort to jump and you're putting him off. He's not getting clean connection on that and he doesn't score. Instead, he's so flat and so still. It's just a really easy header for him. It's just frustrating.
Yeah. Just having a look on transfer markets, I'm trying to find our squad for the season. The highest we've been this season, obviously after match day 1, where we dropped down to 20th after losing to Sunderland. 17th. That's the highest we've been all season.
Really?
Yeah. No, it was after we beat
hell.
Norwich, didn't we? 2-1. So it's after we beat Norwich on match day 13. I mean, I don't know what match day 13 actually means. When was that? November. Since then, it's been mainly in the relegation zone. The last 5 games have seen us stay 21st. So it's the most consistent we've been all season, apart from when we were bottom for 7 games in a row.
But it's mad though, because like there's been times where we've put results like a little bit of a run together, but everyone down the bottom has in the last like month.
It wasn't even that. It was the start, wasn't it? Was it up until we didn't win until fucking middle of October, did we?
Let's have a look. We won our first game when we beat Millwall on October the 1st.
I said we put a run together. We didn't. We had that anomaly where our home form looked okay because we hadn't lost in 6, wasn't it, or something?
But back then, so October the 1st, we were unbeaten for the whole of October, where we beat Millwall, we beat Plymouth, we beat Portsmouth, and we beat Norwich. And then we drew 2 games as well, West Brom and Bristol away. And then all of a sudden, we started losing games. It is weird, though, when you look at it. Like, it is relegation form because we are towards the bottom of the table. But when you look at it on transfer market, it doesn't look that bad. We don't look like we've lost as many games as it feels like. It's really odd.
We haven't won many. That's the thing, isn't it?
That's the thing.
But Reza said in his press conference, I think if you looked at since he's come in form table wise, the club sits in 14th. But again, detrimental start. It's just cost us. But fuck, we should be higher than that. Like you look at, I was saying, like 22 points drop from winning positions. That 22 points puts us in 5th. That puts us in the playoffs. To give you an idea of how bad it is, half of that puts us mid-table. It's just inexcusable, and it's why we're still in the shit, isn't it?
Well, we've given away, as friend of the pod, Hugh Davis sent a bunch of stats through. One of them was the 22 points from the winning positions, but it's also we've given away the largest percentage of our leads, of 59% of our leads. So we've almost 60% of the games we've taken the lead in, we've somehow drawn or lost.
That's mad. That's terrible, isn't it? Really?
Reza can point at the form table. You can point at points drop from winning positions, but that's the damning stat, isn't it? That we, like yesterday is a prime example. We go 1-0 up and we do not feel comfortable enough to see the game out. We did it, we talked about it again, deja vu. When Reza got the job, and obviously, or when he was appointed caretaker, and we went to Bristol away and drew 1-1, we said then that was going to cost us because we went 1-0 up, and at 65 minutes he shit the bed, and we ended up drawing the game from a winning position when we should have won that game. And it's happened weekly since then. I can't even remember. There's not many games that you can point at where, Millwall away is a prime example where we were 2-0 down and ended up drawing the game 2-2. How many points have we clawed back from losing positions?
A few, but not as many as we should have.
Exactly. It's so hard to remember when we've done something to turn the game around. We see games turned around against us, but we don't turn games around ourselves very often.
How many 1-0 wins do you reckon we've had this season?
How many 1-0 wins?
Yeah.
We haven't had many clean sheets, so we
5
in the league.
3
in the league. We've had 1-1-0 win, and that was Millwall in October.
Shut up.
And other than that, 2. Sorry, there was Hull. I missed the whole game. So 2 1-0 wins. Both of them at home. 1 in October, 1 against Hull. It's shocking. That is just, But there's no there's a ton of there's a ton of 1-1 draws.
Yeah.
Or 2-1 losses. But yeah.
We've also had at least 3. I don't know, is that 2-2-alls or 3-2-alls? This is 3-2-alls at least. This is scintillated radio.
But I think this is the issue, right? At no point this season have I thought we've looked horrendous.
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of limping into like the relegation zone by the end of the season, and we're going to drop to League One without being completely terrible. And I think Turnbull's comments and stuff in the media, I think the players are sat there thinking we shouldn't be in this mess. We should be higher up. And they're almost scratching their head to why the hell are we, why are we mixed in with this? And I think we're a little bit like that. Yeah, but we're far from good. But there's not many teams in this league who are good. And I suppose someone's got to go down out of that bunch. But people have put these runs together where they put a load of wins together. And the worrying thing is the team behind this, Derby, they won 3 in a row out of absolutely nowhere. as well. And I don't think there's many signs of us doing that at the moment. And if another couple of teams do it, then we could finish bottom. Never mind getting out of this.
You've also got Luton, who have put together 3 unbeaten and won 3 out of their last 5.
Yeah.
And if you look at our form, we've won 1 of our last 5. Derby, you say, Tom, they've won 3 out of their last 5. Luton have won 3 of their last 5. Derby have won 3 in a row. I think that's the worry now. What we got? We've got 7 games left of the season. And there's, we'll talk about the games coming up, and you can point to games like Oxford and Stoke at home that you think we should be winning. But if we don't lose those games, then we're fucked. Is the long and short of it.
But even
I think
today,
we're really sleepwalking into it.
If you look at yesterday, with the 1-0, at 1-0, we're on 42 points. You're 4 points away from Derby. You're sort of looking, going, okay, there's enough to get us over the line. But that drop of 2 points when it's so tight at the bottom is such a big issue. And that's when sort of it becomes a real problem, because you're not just sort of then. Like at the start of the day, people were saying Stoke and Cardiff, along with Plymouth, they were a lot of people were sort of favouring the 2 to go down. Suddenly, Stoke pick up a win. They're on 42 points. You're looking at it going, there's a bit of breathing room there. It is then. Suddenly, you're looking at it going, Christ, is it from the 5 and it's Hull, Cardiff, and the 3 in the bottom 3?
Well, I still think Oxford and Stoke are absolutely in it with the games they've got to play. And obviously, we can get 3 points against them. So they still have to be in it because they're only 3 points ahead of us, right? So they're still in it in relation to us. But Derby didn't play yesterday. So if Derby win on Wednesday, obviously they're playing Preston. Who knows what kind of Preston team's going to turn up? I think the psychological difference between us being out of the relegation zone and in the relegation zone, which could happen on Wednesday, is the telling thing. And I get the point. The players are scratching their heads, but they need to stop scratching their fucking heads and do something about it. No matter if you think... Rees is your manager, right? If you agree with his tactics or not, the players have to go out there and do something that's going to keep them up. Because at the moment, I keep saying it, we're sleepwalking into it because we're all sat there going, "Oh, it's not been that bad. I can't believe this is going to happen." But we're one result on Wednesday for being in the bottom 3, and if we get into the bottom 3, Benefactor writes it in our tweets. We'll get to it. Do you see us getting out of the bottom 3 if we fall into it? And I don't really. I don't see it with this team. I think they're very fucking brittle.
They've spoken about the mentality in the press conference, like. It's been a big thing of have the players got the right mentality. You've seen it this season when we've gone 1-0 down. A lot of times you sort of think, when we concede a goal and go behind, while we sort of ramp up and try and put up a good fight, normally we don't come back from it and sort of get a result. So looking at that, if you drop into that bottom 3 at this stage with 6 games to go, if it starts from next week, fucking no chance. And looking at Preston's form and the way Preston are at the moment, and the way Derby are, I fancy Derby to win that more than I do Preston.
Yeah, agreed.
Preston have quite a say in the relegation battle. If you just look at their fixtures, they're obviously playing Aston Villa today, which is probably something they're more focused on. But they've got Derby on Wednesday, then they play Stoke next Saturday, then they play us the following Tuesday, then they play Leeds, then they play QPR, then they play Hull, and then they play Plymouth. So one very average team in the middle of the table could have an impact on the relegation battle like never before. Like, if I'm being completely honest, and we're skipping slightly ahead here, but, it is what it is. Well, I watched Hull Luton yesterday, and I think Hull are in real trouble. I think, from watching the way they played yesterday, keep a lot of the ball. They made no chances. Their fans were very antsy. They went 1-0 down, and I think it was similar to us. Like, their goal they conceded was absolutely incredible. Like, it was an own goal like I've never seen before. And I think they really struggle to try and get back into it, and their fans are really on their back. I think Hull, if they lose their next couple of games, they've got Watford, Coventry, Swansea. They've also got to play Preston. Then they play Derby and Portsmouth. If Hull are in danger by the time they get to play Derby, they will probably go down. And then it's the final spot because I think Plymouth are down, and it's between us and whoever else because all the other teams kind of aren't falling over each other to get into the relegation battle at the moment. They're all trying to pull away.
I'm going to be honest, lads, I'm very worried that this is the year it happens. I think the way it's just gone, the mood around it, everything with it, and sort of just the faith in the management, the setup, I feel like, I think we're going to fall into it. I just don't have the faith in the squad. The way the injuries are going, everything with it, you've lost a lot of leadership off this pitch as well, and that was evident on Saturday. There was just no one to grab it by the scruff. There's no one on that pitch you're looking at that when you want to really sort of pull the boys together and sort of just get that calming figure there that did it. O'Dowda, is one of those players sort of leads by examples. We're missing that sort of big character so much in this situation, and that's going to be our undoing because I don't think it comes from the management either. Well, clearly it doesn't come from the management. No. I think the club's decision to put Reeza in charge when he did is going to be what gets us relegated. I think that is the final nail in the coffin. It's sort of the club's undoing.
I think as well. Yeah, like we've been in a relegation battle, 3 or 4 years in a row now. So if you were a neutral looking into this, you're probably thinking, just drop. Like, whenever you see tweets around like what teams are involved in the relegation scrap, like who would you want to see go down? Like nearly every club are like, oh, I want Cardiff to go. And I'm kind of like, yeah, kind of get that. Like if I wasn't a Cardiff fan, I'd want us to get relegated. We've been playing shit football, just floating around the bottom.
Shitty run club.
Staying up because people have had points deducted. And like this year, we've actually improved our squad and we're still down there. So, like, by law of averages, we kind of deserve to drop soon because we can't keep performing like this and keep getting away with it. We might get away with it again, but we talked about this at the end of last season. I know we were quite optimistic going into this season, but at some point, you can't run a football club like this and keep performing like this and expect to stay up. And I don't know, at the moment, it does feel like we're the ones who might drop into this, even though I don't know, I've been fairly confident we'd get out of it.
Yeah.
Probably up until this weekend.
We were expecting, it's the Reading thing, wasn't it? Everyone was sort of saying that about Reading for years of they've just got to drop. It's since that season they had with Yap Sam when they made the playoffs, they had been
a disaster.
Yeah. And now it is our turn. It's just, and fully deserved. I think like we can look back at this but it is all on Darwin, it's all on Chew, it's all on Tan. This whole
save your anger. We'll get to this. I know but we have a lot of tweets to get through, and it all links in. But Ben, we'll have a conversation because you're right. You are right. You're absolutely right. And it's been a while since we've had a nice rant at the board, but we'll get there. We've kind of talked about the game. We've got distracted, but let's go to Twitter. Twitter.com/VFTNinian. There are a lot of tweets this week, and it kind of sums up the anger. And it's quite a strange one, right? Because I think we beat Blackburn. We drew yesterday. That's 4 points gained, where you probably would have thought we would have probably maybe got 3 points out of this game, or even 1 point out of these two games, because Blackburn isn't the easiest place to go for us as a football club. But the anger is still clearly there. Benefactor says, Reeza entirely to blame today. The whole stadium could see Wednesday's changes impacting the game, and he stood on the sidelines like a bloody meerkat for 15 minutes with no clue how to counter it. Let him ban and ping it around like a prime Pirlo. The guy is inept at game management. He also asks, if we drop into that bottom three, are we getting back out? We've kind of all discussed that. Ben, this one's for you. Ninian Mike says, what is Reeza more inept at? Tactical changes, subs, or dressing himself?
It's hard. I mean, he dresses himself. He does it. Unless he has got someone.
He's wearing clothes, should we say?
Yeah, he's got clothes on. I'm not saying he dresses himself well, but he's got clothes on. But yeah, I'm gonna go with subs. I think he's fucking dreadful at substitutions.
He's really bad at substitutions. Reece Spear, Tom, as it was retro shirt day, what's the best shirt we have ever produced, home or away?
Oh,
have a look. Behind you.
It looks like I've had a bit of a protest behind me. You can't see any blue shirts. It's just my head is in the way. I do really like the yellow CMB engineering Lotto one. I think it's just because it's the first shirt I ever had as well. But I think that's my favourite.
Ben?
Ninian, last year at Ninian Park shirt. It's just beautiful.
That is a great shirt.
Oh, bold.
I'm going to go with the yellow CMB engineering Aria shirt, the one with all the patterns down the sleeves. I think that's a lovely football shirt.
Oh, yeah. To be fair, I half expected Reeza to be wearing a retro football shirt, like a remake one on the sideline.
He got from the club shop in the morning.
Yeah. Do you know the hoodie that was made for all shirts?
Mashup one. Yeah. Alex Bennett says, although he's not the player he was a few seasons ago, I really feel like we're missing Roll's leadership at the moment, and that's to your point. MJ Kerr 93 says, I think Reeza is a good bloke. That's the good bloke klaxon being sounded again. But good blokes don't keep you up. Really worried we're getting relegated. Rob Jones, it's getting so hard to stay positive, dropping more points from a winning position again. I'm no football tactician, but it's so easy to see how questionable some of the subs are at times. Also, don't get why he hasn't found a starting lineup that he can stick with yet. Ben, that sums it up, doesn't it, in one tweet? he can't figure out what he wants to start the team with, makes changes every week, and then can't figure out how to change it.
I've got sympathy with him with the 11 because the amount of injuries we've had. He talked about in his press conference as well. Is there's been so many just sort of long to like 4, 5, 6 week injuries for players, and you can't put it together like that. So I kind of understand that, but he's been with them now since what, October? Like you've got to have some understand that squad and what you can do with it. And at times he just seems lost. He's got his game plan that he sort of sticks to it before the match starts and just can't deviate from that. He just hasn't got a clue about how to manage in game, and that's where it's cost us massively. To be honest, the more it's going on, like there's a reason I haven't said he seems like a good bloke this week, is the more of his press conference I'm going, just fucking take some responsibility for it. And that's what's frustrating me as much as anything, is he's not once held his hands up and go, I've got that wrong. I understand he's fighting for his job and his contract's up and he doesn't want to sort of show any weakness to Tan or whatever, but it's clear to everyone what he's doing and sort of where it's going wrong. At some point, just hold your hands up and say, fuck this one up, lads. Maybe don't do it live on an interview, but just some accountability from him would go a long way with me, because that's severely lacking from him at the moment.
Might open the floodgates, though. Like, if you do it once, does he have to do it every week? Because that's the issue. Like, every week, just going, oh, yeah, I did it again, actually. Around 70 minutes, could have fucked it up. Sorry, lads.
He also says in his press conference after the game, he said, you don't want to make changes for the sake of making changes. But a lot of the time, his substitutions sometimes feel like that.
Yeah, that's like exactly what they are.
Yeah, they're so premeditated.
He's planned them and he's gone, I've got to make this substitution now. And then 10 minutes later, he makes a substitution that undoes the work. I've said it every week. Honestly, this podcast is like a mashup of every week. Like, he does a change at 70 minutes, and then 80 minutes, he does a change that undoes the change he made at 70 minutes because he's thought in his head he's had to make changes at some point.
Do you feel like he gives the like the fourth official the slips for subs before kickoff?
Yeah, probably does. 70 minutes, 80 minutes, 85 minutes.
No matter what, this is what we're doing. Just you can pre-program the board now if you want. Just make your life easier. Like, so maybe he's a good bloke. He's making the fourth official's job easier. Look, I know you've got
really
a lot on.
Hot on the admin.
Yeah, fucking fair play to him. Because look, if there's one thing I struggle with, it is day-to-day admin. So if you can be prepared for it.
Yeah. Direct debits and all that. Craig Keno says, our year to go. Suspect keeping Reza for so long is in part the legacy of the infighting between Tan and Dalman over Bullet last summer. Reza's amateur management means we've always been a reachable target for the bottom three. Can't see us stringing any wings together to save ourselves. Craig Mallet going down. No way Reza can keep us up. Worst subs I've ever seen again. Ian Hood, tactical disaster class. Done ourselves out of a win by letting a retirement age Barry Bannon control the game. League One bound. Savigma, my initial thoughts are the same as I've had all season. We've played the whole season without a good enough centre-half, not even one. Jordan says, is there another football club as unserious as picking managers as us? Hudson, Morrison, Reza all got to use as work experience. Reece CFC says, internal appointments, Morrison fail, Hudson fail, Whitehead fail, Reza fail. We are a shambles of a club. Dean Whitehead must be sat at home now playing that 50-cent gift, saying, why do you say fuck me for? He had one game. One game.
So many failed it, though, did he?
He did fail it. He did fail it. He looked shit scared as well on the sideline. James Jackson says, keeps me on the edge of my seat, I guess, as we really are at risk. Lee Johnson says, fucking Booman. DJ Innit says, holy ref, their goal shouldn't have counted. Foul on NG. We should have had a penalty and overall shocking performance. Rodri says, I'd give Joe... Say it again.
What was the penalty?
I didn't see a penalty that we should have had. But then again, I've tried to wipe the game from memory. Rodri says, I'd give Joe Rolls or Joe Rowles, depending on pronunciation, a new deal. One of a handful of players that actually understand the club. Tom, obviously, he's out for the season now. Rowles or Rolls, depending on who's saying it. Are we keeping him? Is this the time we say goodbye to him? He's given us a lot of years, and I wouldn't blame him if we are getting relegated for him to leave.
He's probably going to get more game time if we do get relegated than if we stay up. But I'm not sure if there's many. I don't know how many championship teams would take him now if he went elsewhere. I don't think. Weirdly, I would still keep him if we stayed up as well. But as a bit part, knows the club, all those cliches are good to have him around the dressing room because we've said we lack leadership and he does have that quality and we lack that. So I'd like to keep him around because I don't think. There's many, like I said, I don't think many places would take him because he's not going to go in somewhere and be. He's a leader for us because he knows the club and he knows how to do it here. I'm not sure if that's transferable to say someone mid-table championship.
Yeah, and he'd have to move. He's lived here a long time. Di Richard says, what?
As I say, admin, and then I stopped myself for some reason. And you can't ignore how hard that would be for someone.
Yeah. Look, you've just moved to Australia. Like, you can attest to how difficult it is to move and like how stressful moving is. We don't want to do that to him.
Yeah, I couldn't find a shaving cream for 9 months, so I understand.
And that's the full growth he's got there. Di Richard says he just doesn't help himself, does he? Hard to defend his in-game management at this point. Aidan Jones should have been out of sight by half-time. We were excellent for the first 45. How we let Bannon control the game second half is criminal. Subs were poor. El Ghazi might as well play with 10. He offered absolutely nothing. Oliver Rees, the result relegates us, in my opinion. Should have been 3 or 4 up at half-time. Piss poor management. I like Reza. Seems like a nice guy, but he's out of his depth. Club needs to make a change if you have any chance of staying up. Should have beaten this piss poor Wednesday team with ease. Janek says, just can't see us staying up. Every game, we all say this game is a must-win. This can't go on much longer. It's only a matter of time before things get worse when players feel the inevitable is going to happen. Rodri, following up, said, that's it, we're down. When Robin Ryan bought Wrexham, I said they'd leapfrog Cardiff in 10 years. Didn't think it would happen this soon. Gareth Jones, Reza is out of his depth along with the rest of his coaching staff. Fed up of him saying we'll concentrate on the next game after his decisions or lack of decisions have cost us points. He's the EFL equivalent of Rob Page, no plan B. Just another Bluebird says only one person to blame for this position we're in, and that's the owner. Reza seems a decent guy. There we go, but he's learning on the job. Properly run clubs appoint managers of real experience. There was a time to make a decent, long-term appointment when Reza was caretaker, but Tan chose not to. Mark Thomas, take a look at the form table for the last 10 games and use that as a discussion point. There's a reason he's always been a kids coach or a specialist coach and not a manager or assistant. We are bottom 3 for the last 10 games in terms of form. Longshank says, we actually had a good first half for once, and then Reza doesn't react to Wednesday's changes, and we end up drawing a game we should have won comfortably. Guy isn't just tactically astute enough at this level. Gareth Dunning, positives, the front four and being bold from the offs. Negatives, should have been 2 or 3 up. Omar making subs for the sake of it or getting them wrong. El Ghazi for Alves. Why? El Ghazi, absolutely pants. Why bring him on again yesterday? Offers nothing. Ben, a lot of hate for El Ghazi. Was he bad for you?
It wasn't great, but I don't think he was horrific. I think if as someone put on Twitter, if his shot didn't head for Merthyr towards the end, it wouldn't look as bad as it was. But it's another transfer that's come in similar to someone like Mate. It's just not happened, is it? It's full of promise. You can see why. You can see in reason, like on paper, why he was brought into the club and what could happen and the possibilities there. And let's not pretend like we weren't all excited when he came in, but it's a year.
He came in the summer when we were all excited about the season.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and Cardiff City does a lot of things to people, and he's been a year out and come into a struggling side. It's just not got going, is it? It's just not happened from it at all, and there's not a chance his contract gets renewed in the summer. I can't imagine he wants to stick around. No. Yeah, it's just one of those not worked. It's far from the worst signing we've ever made, but ain't anywhere near the best.
Set up for a lot of our players. CFC, Reza should have been sacked after Boxing Day. The fact that we've let this go on as far as it has shows how absolutely clueless VT is. I mean, he's letting a car salesman and a bank manager run a second-tier football club. We are getting what we deserve. This is on Tan and his minions. Common Bluebird, really worried. We seem to be the worst at game management of the relegation candidates and probably the most fragile mentally as well. Derby and Luton both look like they might overhaul us. And, of course, Oxford play Swansea in their final fixture. Fucking hell, didn't realise that. CFC. Unfortunately, we have a manager that even when he nails the initial setup will not get us the points we need because he can't react to the game situations. And unless we're 2 or 3 up, it'll forever cost us. Matt CFC 555. Reza out of his depth. Simple as that. Probably too late for him to go now, but shouldn't be here next season regardless of what league we're in. Game was there to be won today, and we can't seem to win the big games at home. Stoke and Oxford to come. Absolutely must wins. Adam Cameron, El Ghazi should not play for Cardiff again. Thoughts? We need all the players we have. Utah Jazz fans has just sent a crying emoji. David Charles, we just have to take our chances. We could have gone in at the break 3 goals to the good. A frustrating afternoon in our subs. Our timing of the subs were a big factor in the game. It was obvious what they would do second half. Fill the midfield and allow Bannon the platform. Connor says, should have killed off within the first 45. Substitutions, once again, dreadful. Don't want Reza in the job, but it's far too late to fuck him off now and start from phase 1. Ropey few weeks ahead. Tarley says, so shit, what a dreadful season. And now the final 2 questions, because these require a bit of thinking. Daniel Morgan says, how can we play like prime Barcelona one half and prime Accrington in the other half? I still love our squad in a weird way, but something ain't right. Anyways, would you rather Cardiff go down and Wales qualify for the World Cup, or Cardiff stay up and Wales don't qualify? Tom, what do you want?
I'm currently sat in a Wales shirt.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I asked you first. Ben's wearing a career shirt. I can't really ask him about career.
Perhaps he'd rather Korea qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah, I think they have, haven't
they? But I don't know. Like, it feels like we're going to get relegated at some point. So I think I'd roll the dice and just have Wales qualify for the World Cup and watch Cardiff drop, because it probably just happened the season after anyway.
Ben?
From a selfish point of view, me and the wife have already sort of looked at planning out what we do for when Wales qualify for the next World Cup in America. Mexico,
don't be doing that.
So we've sort of worked out that, well, we've agreed we're going to do it. So from a selfish point of view, I want that. If Cardiff get relegated, we can always go back up. I'm not sure how many more chances I've got to convince her that we can go to a World Cup that she actually wants to go to, because Saudi Arabia, I'll be honest, that's a tough sell. So for me, it's sacrilege to say on the Cardiff City podcast. Yeah, give me Wales in the World Cup.
I think that sums it up, doesn't it? That Cardiff City podcast, both answers are, I'd rather Wales qualify, because not to go on the bingo cards, the word apathy. I don't know how many times we've said it. It has kind of got to that point because we're kind of like looking for that bit of excitement. And as Wales fans and Cardiff fans, the excitement often comes from Wales now. And I know that wasn't the case 15 years ago, but that's what it's become now. It's like we're kind of, I'm crying out for an international break sometimes to have a bit of excitement, where it would have been the complete opposite growing up.
But it's everything from match day experience of Wales. Like that, I was thinking about it the other week. Like when we played against Kazakhstan, the day I was so excited for the day of the Wales game. Everything about it, from meeting up with loads of people in the Captain Cross vaults, like had such left there, like with the boys from the Alternative Wales lads, like me and Fee were like crying.
Alternative Wales friends.
Like we were crying, laughing with Rod. He's just fucking hilarious. It was just such a nice time. It was such a nice build up. Get to the stadium. Everything's buzzing. The only downside is it's a big crowd, so it's a pain in the ass to get in. But other than that, it was just a nice experience. Okay, it wasn't the best atmosphere, but you compare that to the apathy of going to Cardiff and sort of just, it's begrudging. You're sort of there going, I'm going to this because I feel like I have to.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. People are doing their duty.
I think, though, like Wales obviously have the benefit of it being more limited. There's less of them. So there's less of those games, so it's easier to build up for it. So, like, it's always going to be, all things being equal, that's more of an occasion. But that's not an excuse for Cardiff to be as bad as it is. And, like, we are still in this, right? Like, we're not even in the relegation zone yet. So, like, we could easily stay up. But it's so interesting hearing over and over again, that's us down, when we're not even in the bottom three. Because I think that's just the general atmosphere. Like, we can't really get the atmosphere going in the crowd. Like, in years gone by, we could be bottom of the table, and the one thing we had was atmosphere to try and get them going. Do you know what I mean? That's gone now as well. So I think that's why everyone kind of given up a little bit. And we're not responsible as fans. Like, I know people have been like, "Oh, we've got to get behind them," but do they deserve it?
One option we didn't talk about is, of course, that both Wales don't qualify for the World Cup and Cardiff also get relegated. So I'll take that option, because
so no one can have nice things.
Yeah, no one can have nice things. I'm feeling pretty demoralised about everything at the moment. And the final tweet, promised the food tweet. Thomas Taylor says, "Can't bring myself to talk about it. So an equally important question: scampi fries or bacon frazzles? Which is the better pub snack?" It's obviously scampi fries. Tom?
Scampi fries every day.
Ben shaking his head. I came to you first because you were nodding. Ben, you shaking your head.
Oh, bacon frazzles every time. Scampi fries are rank.
No, they're delicious, man.
I don't like fish stuff anyway. I don't like fish. So
try fish fingers.
No.
What? How can you not like fish fingers?
What?
I'm not fit. I'm not sick. I've grown up and I prefer turkey dinosaurs.
Fish fingers are not sure about that. Twitter.com/VFT Ninian for all your tweets. I wrote a section saying reason the board and the rest of the league. And the first question, Ben, is, and we've kind of talked about it, but let's go into it a little bit more. We are now firmly in trouble, aren't we?
No, I think we'll be fine.
Oh, fuck off. Do you actually think we'll be fine?
No, I think we're fucked.
Yeah, good.
The world's going to hell in a handbasket and Cardiff City are getting relegated. There you go.
Tom, you're the more positive one on this podcast. You kind of like Ben, probably pessimistic, me in the middle. Tom, you're the most positive one. Are we fucked?
Not yet. I think this is the thing, right? Like, I don't know. I think we might, despite everything we've said in this podcast, we might stay up, but I don't think it'll be through anything we do well. I think there's twists and turns in this league, and I don't know. There's teams below us who might slip up, or I mean, we will get the odd win. I think we will win one or two of those like remaining home fixtures that we've got, because we do enough in some games to get a result, and we might just get away with it. But I think long term we're probably fucked. But we're not necessarily fucked come May. And I think that's as positive as I could be at the moment. We could still be a championship club next year. It wouldn't surprise me if we are. I reckon we're probably still slightly more likely to stay up than go down, even though it doesn't feel like it. But that's as positive as I can get.
I guess, we talked about it last week, but looking at, we talked about Derby's fixtures. They've got to play Hull, Stoke, Luton, Portsmouth, and Preston obviously already. Then you've got, I think Luton have got to play. They've got to play Stoke, and obviously they're already playing Derby. Everyone is playing each other, Ben, and I understand that we need to pick up points somewhere. That is my sticking point at the moment. Is I don't see us picking up that many points elsewhere. But the way the fixtures have landed going into this last couple of weeks it will guarantee more twists and turns, won't it?
Oh, massively, and there is every chance we could stay up. But I feel there was a stat someone posted about the points. You're looking at like the points. The bottom, I think it's the bottom 6, have taken against each other. Even the bottom 7, including Stoke, maybe. They were sort of putting totals against it. We haven't got any of them left. We've got a couple left to play, but so far we've taken 2 points from those teams. Or there was 2 games. I can't remember what it was. It was 2 wins. Sorry, everyone else has got more than that. So we've beaten Plymouth, and who else have we beaten? We beat Derby.
We beat Hull. We lost to Derby at their place. We've lost to Luton twice. We've beaten Plymouth once and drew with them once.
Yeah, so it's Plymouth and Hull. It was the Oxford 2. It was number of wins, and we were by far the lowest out of that lot. So that sort of if we do go down, that's going to be what costs us. Is when it mattered, like that. I think that's where the turning point for my mentality was. Is I've not changed since the Luton game. Even the Blackburn result, I still felt we were in trouble. That Luton game was so telling for me of when it mattered, when the players needed to step up and make it count, they didn't do it. The management got it wrong. The players didn't perform. And that's where teams survive and when they don't. It's those big moments. It's going to probably come down to the last 2-3 games, probably the last game. And if we need a win at that point, do you have faith in this squad to put a performance in against Norwich, who could... It is Norwich last day, isn't it? Away.
Yeah, last day.
Yeah, away.
Yeah. So, like, they could be needing a win to get in the playoffs. They could have nothing left to play for. But regardless of that, do you have faith in this squad to put in performance when it really matters? They've done it once this season. That was against Swansea at home.
We beat Hull. We had to beat Hull. We beat Hull.
I think it's an interesting one because you look at the fixtures. We only need to kind of ramp up our game a little bit and we'd be okay. Because like we've got QPR, Preston, Stoke, Oxford, West Brom and Norwich, and as well as Sheffield United away, which are kind of discounted as like one you don't fancy us to get anything from. Every other one of those games, you wouldn't be shocked if we got at least a point. And arguably should get 3 in like 3 of those games. So we only need a couple of good performances to be in with a shout to staying up. I think that's why I'm still staying slightly positive at the moment. Would I be shocked if we didn't get a point between now and the end of the season? Not completely. But we could beat QPR on the weekend. We beat Blackburn like just before the international break. We haven't been horrendous. We've had games where we've done all right, but we've also had games where we've lost 7-0. So it's just been a really odd season. But I still think we've got enough. I still think we've got enough if you just turn up 3 times.
I look at our last few games of the season, like West Brom at home is our last game of the season. West Brom is shit. I don't know how they're still in the playoffs, but they lost yesterday to Norwich. We drew with them at their place and they had nothing. They had nothing going for them. I wouldn't be surprised if we somehow get a result against West Brom. If Norwich have nothing to play for last game of the season, Ben, I know it's a big ask, but they are 5 points below the relegation zone at the moment, have been very inconsistent, have thrown away a lot of points. If we go to Norwich last day of the season, they've got nothing to play for. We've probably beat them. And that's just because the Championship is such a topsy-turvy league. I think we beat Oxford at home. I would put that as a home. I'm not going to say home banker. I would put that as I think we're going to win. That's in my think we're going to win column. I think we probably draw with Stoke, and I think we pick up a couple of wins elsewhere just flukily, because the league is so fucking weird that could happen. and then
It could.
somehow
But right
somehow
now,
we get relegated.
I don't have the faith. I feel like that Luton result to me just sticks in my mind with the performance and just the whole atmosphere around it for me. Right now, I don't have the faith in this squad to turn it around and sort of correct it when it matters. We could get we could have QPR on Saturday and could come away with a 3-0 win, and suddenly I'm going, all right, maybe we're going to be all right, because then, yeah, things look a bit more rosy. But right now, even after the Blackburn game, I wasn't fully convinced we were safe. It's when we've really needed to do it, it's just not happened this season. Like, we've had so many chances to pull ourselves away from it, and we've just not done it. And I think that's just going to be our undoing. You can't stick around. How long was Turnbull out for? Injured.
Like 3 months, 4 months, wasn't it?
So he was about out 3 months. There was in the press conference they talk about it. When he was injured, they were 21st. When he came back, we're still 21st. We've just been consistently hovering around there, but it's just the other teams now are starting to go on those runs, sort of pick it up, where we just haven't got going. We haven't, like Tom said, we haven't had that result.
We haven't been cut adrift, though. I think that's the one thing. It's like you can look at it either way.
Yeah.
It's like we've never got going, but we've never been completely cut adrift as well. And I think we have put like runs of like 3 games where we've looked decent. And like we could be here, like we could be sat here now, 13th of April, after playing QPR, Preston, and Stoke, right? Which sound like average games with 9 points, and suddenly we're going, oh, we might be all right with 4 games to go.
Might get the
that we've got that far. But like, you know, we could be fine. And that's why I'm trying to not do the whole panic stations. Because it seems like 90% of our fan base, at least the ones that are online, think we're fucked. And I think we're not. And I think that's what I'm clinging on to.
That's what I was quite surprised at yesterday. Is obviously, yes, we lost to Luton a few weeks ago, but since then we beat Blackburn, which was, you know, for our record at Blackburn, was quite a surprise win. And we played quite well at Blackburn. You know, we held well defensively. We created chances. We could have scored. It could have been 3-1, 4-1 by the end of the game. Yesterday, yes, the second half was terrible. But yeah, I'm not sure that yesterday, when you read those tweets, it's as if we've just got relegated yesterday. Like, that's the kind of final feeling that people have about that game. There are still 7 games left. And
someone said that's the result of the relegation, so I don't agree with that. Like, there's other things.
I think we have overreacted a little bit as a fan base to yesterday's result. Sheffield Wednesday aren't a bad side. Yes, we probably let them play it around, and I think that's probably what's pushing people to be a bit more pessimistic. Is that we were so good first half, poor second half. That drop off kind of clouds everything, and we think it leads into that pessimistic mentality. But 4 points on the last 2 games, considering our record of Blackburn and Sheffield Wednesday being quite a good side when they want to be, isn't the end of the world, and it gives us a decent enough platform for the next few games.
I don't think our head-to-head against Sheffield Wednesday is that good either, is it? Recently, I think it's
I don't. You know, we drew with them. We beat them. Was it quite late on? We beat them last season away, but we beat them very late on at home, 96th minute at home, and it wasn't the most brilliant of games last season. Obviously, we went there, I think, on the last day of the season all those years ago, needing just a win to get into the playoffs. So we somehow lost that game or drew that game.
3-0. We lost.
Yeah, 3-0. We lost it. So, like, I just don't think it's the end of the world.
I think what's happened as well is the fixtures around us have skewed us a bit. Like, you put us in a padded room, nothing else. You don't know anything that's going on in the world apart from, the 2 Cardiff results of win away at Blackburn, draw home at Sheffield Wednesday, and you're sat there going, that's not bad at all. But it's the outside factors that's making it seem worse in the moment, that people are picking up points, Stoke have won and things like that. So I think we're not judging the game on the game itself. We're judging it by the whole thing that's going on around us. And I think that's making it a lot more miserable than it needs to be.
Yeah. Ben, people over the last few weeks, we talked about the international break. Was it time to get rid of Reza? People suggesting he should go now. People putting the blame on the people who run the club. We'll talk about that. We talked about it in the last podcast, but the worm has turned ever so slightly again. It's too late, isn't it, to replace Reza at this stage?
The right appointment, no, but no one wants it.
Who is the right appointment? Sam Allardyce?
No,
because I don't. He hasn't done the championship for a long time.
He's got nothing to lose as well. Sam Allardyce, like if he fucks it up, it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah, I feel like if you brought Warnock in some capacity, it would make a difference. But he doesn't want it. You've got other managers there that could. I think. Yeah, realistically, now it is too late to change, isn't it? The damage was done when he was given the job. That is the harsh reality of it.
Yeah.
when the appointment felt weird when they did it at the time anyway. It wasn't like he was on a massive run of form where things were going amazing. It was just the club seemed short of ideas. Like before that, the main thing people were saying was it was Slaven Bilic was getting the job. And then out of nowhere, Reezy gets given the job until the end of the season. That was sort of probably when the mistake was made. And then you can talk about, oh, well, the Oxford game on Boxing Day was the time to sack him. He'd had his permanent job two games at that point. That's where the mistake was.
I mean,
such stupid timing to make him to give him that contract.
But was it? But like, I don't think he was given anything. I just think they said it to stop everyone moaning about it. Like,
I think that's the issue. I think like we even missed the opportunity to ride the good feeling bit. Because we could have actually given him the job earlier when we were on that run of form, and you kind of carry on the momentum. We actually killed the momentum internally by not giving him the job.
Yeah, it was after that Norwich game where we won at home late on. Yeah, that was the moment. Like O'Dowd after the game was like, he's the man. We want him. Like you could see the players are fighting for him.
It was working.
It was working. We beaten Norwich 2-1. We were on like a 6 or 7 game unbeaten run, and then nothing happened. Everyone was like, "Yeah, he's going to get the job now," and there was silence from the club. And you're right, Tom. It killed the momentum.
It's the club's incompetence is our undoing. Like we can say Reeza's got to relegate, whatever, but this is a bloke that's looking for his first proper management job in the Championship. He's not going to turn it down. He'd be stupid to turn it down. So it's not on him. It is like, again, we're bringing up all the classics to this podcast, but
I was about to let a bell go or something.
It is on the ownership, isn't it? It's this whole situation has been a long time, but it's all on them. This whole thing comes from their sheer incompetence at running a football club and just the lack of care from them. It's all on them. This will be their legacy.
If we get relegated. If we stay up, well, all praise to the ownership. Tom, we talked about it, and Ben, I know you have thoughts on this, so I'm giving you a run up. So I'm going to go to Tom first, and I'll come to you, Ben. We talked about, people point to the owners being part time. Obviously, Ken Chu runs the car sales place, kind of mainly week to week. Dalman seems to be involved when he wants to be and when he's got something to talk about, whether that's having a drink with Boris Johnson or talking about the court case, which is obviously still ongoing. But there's no one there day to day, is there, Tom? And that's the problem. You've got people who are almost burying their head in their sand by virtue of not being involved day to day with this football club, which is costing us.
Yeah, like we're not the only club in the world that have like executives that aren't there all the time. But our problem is none of them are there any of the time. Yeah. You have it like even when you're watching things like the Wrexham documentary, people like Humphrey Carr come and go, right? They're not there permanently, but there are people who are there on a daily basis and stuff. And we just haven't got that. It's not like they take it in turns. They're just never there. And it doesn't help. And the thing is, when they do come in, it's not like they're great football minds anyway.
Yeah,
it's not like they get the fan base. They don't understand what's going on. They're not doing Q&As with the fans. They're not doing, photo ops and things like that. They're just there for their own, for their own name. And when it suits them to pop up on radio shows and stuff like that, like those fleeted appearances aren't doing us any good. So there's just no benefit to it whatsoever. And it is costing us. There's no doubt about it, because you can't get a general feel of how the club is going on if you're not there. And it's just frustrating.
Ben, you want to be slightly less kind?
No, really, I think Tom's spot on with it. It is just, if you sort of look at, if you use sort of like the example of some, like, I know it's Hollywood Feel Good and they're in a great place at the moment, but like, I feel like when Rob and Ryan Reynolds go into Wrexham, when they're in the town and they're around the club, they bring a good vibe to it.
When 100%.
When Humphrey Carr's there, he brings a good vibe.
It's Humphrey Kerr. Humphrey Kerr. People have a go at me for my mispronunciation. It's spelled K-E-R-R.
I think it is, but I don't think you say it like that.
It's Humphrey Kerr.
Okay, Humphrey. When that big lad Humphrey turns up.
Yeah, he is a string bean.
Yeah, like I feel like it's a good vibe there. Like the only person I think I heard from like Wrexham was the one they dubbed "cunt in the cabin." Other than her, sort of, it seems like the executives are really well liked there. Whereas I feel like even when they're there, there's not a chance when Darman and Chu's there, they're bringing good vibes. People are going to be on edge, sort of like, oh God, not these again. And that's not a nice way to be. We've all been in jobs where well, I've been in jobs where when the manager's around, people are on edge, and it creates like just a shittier work vibe. That sort of reflects on the club. If you've got management that are never there, people are naturally going to be sort of switching off and making mistakes, and sort of it's not as going to be as intense as it needs to be. The lack of just one full-time person sort of higher up overseeing the day-to-day with this club. I'm not saying like a director of football, something like that, just even from like a board level point of view, it's a massive loss. It makes such a difference. And the fact that Chu lives in London, Dalman, I think, is he in Monaco? Like, not paying tax because he's a prick. It's just all of that is just, he's never coming on the show, is he?
I mean, I don't think we were ever going to have a chance at that, Ben, let alone now.
No, but I stand by it. It's just shit. It's just all on them. This whole situation, it's been coming for a long time. And yeah, it's just the standard stuff. And everyone knows it, but they're too busy chasing frivolous lawsuits because they see it as their get out of the club. And until that happens, we're going to be in this mess.
I wouldn't say the lawsuit's frivolous. I think there's merit to the lawsuit.
That one, yeah. But they've done plenty of other ones that have been very frivolous and just gone, fuck it, yeah, let's just go after them. And just they like dragging stuff out instead of focusing on the club in other areas. I'm not saying the Salah stuff when they're sort of like chasing 200 mil or whatever, but let's be honest, they win that 150 million, they're pocketing it and getting selling up.
Well, that's quite right. I hope so.
That's their exit plan. But it's not going to be for years. Until then, the club's not going to get the focus it needs.
Right, before we get on to QPR and the next week, Tom, a few weeks ago, you predicted that we would finish above Swansea. Does your prediction still stand?
Tell you what, half time in the game on the weekend.
I was going to say this exact thing.
Honestly, though, it switched. Like, this is what's mad about this league. It looked like genuinely they were getting dragged into it and we were getting ourselves out of it. And that's what this league is. 2 points in it. And then suddenly you're like, okay, it's on. But no, it doesn't stand now. But it did for 45 minutes.
And then on the relegation-ometer, Ben, at the moment, are we closer or further away to relegation than we were last week? It's like the doomsday clock. Are we a minute to midnight at this stage, or are we a minute and a half away from midnight?
I think we're 45 seconds to midnight.
All right, so we can go closer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, until we're actually relegated, you can't.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Tom, where would you put us on the doomsday clock?
Well, we're far from doomed yet, but we're slightly closer than we were, and even with 4 points out of 6, yeah, we're slightly closer than we were.
All right. Next weekend then is shaping up to be pretty pivotal. But first, a game on Wednesday that we have no say in, Ben. Derby are playing Preston. What's your prediction for this one?
I just can't get a read on Preston. I feel like they haven't won a game since August, but still for a long time with top half. Now they're starting to fall down a bit. I think they're in that sort of bottom end, top end of the bottom half, sorry.
They beat Portsmouth, drew with Sunderland, lost to Sheffield United, drew with Swansea, beat Burnley in the FA Cup, lost to Coventry, drew with Millwall. So they are pretty archetypally Championship when it comes to their form.
Yeah, I think they're now looking at the cup run, and I think if they get to the semis, what a season! Then suddenly you don't give a shit about this season, do you? So they're having a good time. Their focus is going to be on that. So I think it all depends. I don't think that. I think the mental exhaustion. If they lose, they're going to be disappointed they've not made it to an FA Cup semi-final. If they've won, they're going to be buzzing they've made it to an FA Cup semi-final. So it's sort of it does favour Derby in that, doesn't it? So 2-0 Derby.
All right, Tom.
Yeah, 2-0 Derby is exactly what I was thinking. I think they've shown enough recently. They have got a bit of fight there, and Preston have been in pretty poor form and have got distractions. So I think you put Derby as slight favourites, if not more than slight.
That puts us in a relegation zone going into QPR next weekend. Ben, how much do you hate QPR?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all. Not as much as they hate us.
No, they really hate us.
Yeah, they really don't like us.
That Pete Blexley's always posting stuff about us, the weird cunt.
Oh, he's a weird man. Weird man.
Very strange man.
But yeah, I don't particularly like him, but I wouldn't say it's an out-and-out hatred.
Tom, do you hate them?
It's one of my favourite away days, but I do very much dislike them as a club.
Okay. I don't really know where to go with this. Predictions. He's going to make changes. Like at this stage, it's really hard to know what kind of changes Rees is going to make. Is he going to stick with the same team? Probably not. We're away at QPR. He's probably going to start defensively. It might be like Watford away, where we just, blew them away in the first 45 minutes. Would you bring Ben? Did you see Callum Robinson come back in? Do you think we missed him yesterday?
It wouldn't have hurt, would it? It's still mental to think. I don't think we've won a game without him scoring.
Yeah. Tom, would you bring Callum Robinson back in?
I don't think I'd start him, but I'd bring him on second half.
I honestly, this game, I have no idea which way it's going to go. I don't even know. QPR are kind of all over the place as well. Like, everyone is so all over the place in this division. They're just below Preston in the league. They're, in fact, only 5 points clear of us at this stage, but they are so far away in the table. They lost to Stoke yesterday, Ben. So it means they're going to beat us, isn't it?
They are the least informed team in the league. In the last 6, they've lost 5, drawn 1.
And they drew with Leeds after going down to 10 men.
So...
Fucking hell. This league, man.
Before that, they beat Derby 4-0, lost to Coventry, beat Blackburn, lost to Millwall, beat Hull. Like, it's so... If you're a bookie, you'd be laughing right now because it's so hard to predict.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not many... If you're betting purely on Championship football, you're not winning many accumulators at the moment, are you? Yeah. It's just not happening. It's between... Yeah, but them and Blackburn's form are exactly the same. And Blackburn are 11th, QPR in 15th. They're the two most out-of-form teams in the league. Just a weird league at the moment. I'm just going to say, look, it's going to be a nice day, I think.
All right.
The football's going to ruin it, but going down, early train to London, it'll be fine.
Tom, are we going to win this one, Mr. Optimistic?
Yeah, because you said the two teams that are the least in form are Blackburn and QPR. We just beat Blackburn away from home. Yeah. So why can't we do it again? It's just, I honestly, like, we've got something to play for. QPR kind of don't. They've just lost to Stoke as well. These are the games where
we get dragged into the relegation battle a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But this is the thing. Like, these are the games where we could and possibly should get something at this stage of the season. And I honestly, we do all right in this type of game. Like that Blackburn game, we got at them, we got something from it. And this feels very, very similar. We're going to a place where their fans largely don't give a fuck at the moment, like Blackburn didn't. There's like a bit of there's not exactly a feel-good factor around the club. And I think we're there to capitalise on it. And to be fair, our atmosphere away from home, as much as we can't get it going in our own stadium, in a game like this, if the fans give us something in the first 20 minutes, we react pretty well. So, I don't know. I do actually fancy us. And not from blind optimism this time. There's a bit of that, don't get me wrong. But like, their form is poor and we've been okay in the last couple of games. So I fancy us.
All right. Optimism's in. I think we're going to win as well. We beat them there last season. We were shit then as well. So why not? That's it. Another episode of You from Ninian in the Bank. We'll be back after the QPR game next Saturday. Twitter.com/VFT Ninian for all your tweets. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you are listening via podcast, please give us a 5-star review or 4 stars, but we'd like 5 stars. KOFI.com. I'm just giving people the option. KOFI.com/VFT Ninian for all your money, because we do this for the love, not the money. Ben, have I missed anything?
No, all good.
Tom, have I missed anything?
No, just enjoy QPR, boys.
Will do. We'll be back after the QPR game next weekend. Ta-da!